fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Montreal, round 4 of the championship, and we have been away for a couple of weeks through various reasons here and reasons there with SimSpeed TV on the iRacing Esports Network, but my goodness has this championship proven that it is a barrel of fun in the meantime. This is the technical circuit. This is all about trying to put the power down. This is about dealing with close walls and a lot of battling. And if you ever go anywhere in terms of the world, in terms of finding a really nice street circuit, well, this one pretty much has the Supercars philosophy in it. It's Monday night, it's V8, and it's here on the iRacing Esports Network. My name's Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Nick Skirajev, here along with me for the ride as we get ourselves ready for sim racing action as we go over towards Montreal and the St. Lawrence River here that's going to go on. Well, here we are. There's Detroit, Toronto, Boston over there down at the bottom, but Montreal, the hub, of course, of Quebec. And we dive on down and we find ourselves in the middle of an island right now. Some amazing action. They can see the old rowing track that was there, brought in for the Olympics. 4.3 kilometers worth of racing action, Nick. And this is a tale of two halves. This is the technical first half of the lap and the very, very quick dash towards the end of the lap.
Yeah, that's it. And also, fortune favors the brave there. Seeing some of those really tight chicanes there, most notably 13 and 14. So we'll see quite a few battles in down there as well. Some of the chicanes as well, turn 3 and 4 and 8 and 9. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some really awesome battles tonight there, Jake.
And some really awesome battles we are hoping for. Qualifying is currently underway. James Scott, top of the timing stands. He picked up the win last time out at Le Mans and did so with a little bit of misfortune for the rivals he was battling with. He had contact with, or he didn't have contact, but more rather, Adam Briggs and Andrew Dyson, the two simrings.com DPR teammates, came together on the last lap. And as such, James Scott was able to scamper away with a race victory. Will it be the same today? Well, that could be a different point entirely. Abandoning the second lap, there's not much there. Here's Corey Shepard, though, currently classified in third position in the Mr. Antenna car at this moment in time, getting very close to the wall there on the run to the line, taking the big wide line, trying to make that push over towards it, and ultimately remains in third position for the time being. Troy Maguire is looking for a little bit of time as well. It's a big field here today, looking to try and find those times, but Maguire looking to try and get it over the line, and ultimately for the time being, that is an outlap going onto a flyer. No, it's not. It's an abandon. It's no laps.
Yeah, it's exactly right, Sperry. And we're just talking about had Corey Shepard up on screen before as well, missing out by just a whisker there, under 200ths of a second there off that front row. So he will be starting next to his DPR teammate there, Andrew Dyson. But a few ring-ins as well. Jackson Susan Harley, we haven't seen too much of him this season. They're sitting pretty strong there in fifth.
He is doing well in fifth. I will correct you, and Corey Shepard, as Jackson Susan Harlow goes into the pits. Corey Shepard is part of the Premier Racing team and not the Simrings.com DPR team, as Andrew Dyson has Adam Briggs as his teammate, who's down in 8th place at the moment. It's lime green as it goes through. It's Rob Bowden at the moment. So new livery on the horizon maybe as we jam on the brakes and go in towards the hairpin. So Rob Bowden here will look to try and improve. He's in 17th position at this stage, 1:36 flat, his quickest time at the moment. So we'll see if anybody will find the improvements that are very much needed around this place, and we'll see how it works into that final chicane. There's a wall of champions on the outside as well, which will make life very, very difficult to try and get right. You've got to be heavy over those curves, and the car will not like the balance going up on two wheels too much. So here's the drive to the line. Rob Bowden does a 35.8 to improve. So that will jump him up one position then into 16th place. Well, here's Kenneth Latter in the Extra Gaming car. What does Kenny find? He finds a 35.3 going over the line, and that puts him up into 12th position, which is a good qualifying time for Kenneth Latter, and he'll be hoping that he will charge himself up like he does in one of his favourite shows, Dragon Ball Z. Greg Sharp, though, in the Penrite-sponsored car, the Stealth SimForce team. A lot of talk about Penrite and Stealth SimForce, especially with the Repco Supercars tournament coming up.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. And it's just seeing there with Rob Bowden before, bit of a shame his tanked livery was almost a bit of a institution of the Monday night V8 Supercars broadcast. So a little bit further down the line at the moment there in 17th. We usually have seen him just recently a little bit stronger there, but as we know, Rob Bowden has some pretty strong race pace, as per Greg Sharp as well. So we are expecting them to see him shuffle up the order a little bit.
Just being told here by our director, we're going to try and find it again. So Rob Bowden then will hopefully have his livery back on car not too soon. It'll be the quickest paint job you will ever find. But Greg Sharp here looking to make some progress. He is going to be out of time, though, here in qualifying to set anything more. So let's take ourselves over to the starting grid. This is how everyone is going to line up today for action at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It's James Scott for the Logitech G Altus esports team, who makes it a front row 1-2 with Brady Myers alongside him. Corey Shepard starts from third with Andrew Dyson in fourth position. It's an all Mustang second row with Jackson Susan Harlow and Geordie Sinney rounding out the top six. Brian Borg and Adam Briggs are on row 4, and row 5 sees an all team of what is going to be Synergy Sim Racing, because it's Damian Johnstone and Christian Smart.
Yeah, so just outside the top 10, Todd Hayne, haven't seen too much of him, doing really well there in 11th. Kenneth Latter, Michael Rosenblatt and Jack Wittes on row 7th. Mitchell Bolton and Sebastian Tixier on row 8. Rob Bowden, as we were just talking about before, with Marty Hanson on row 9. Mark Duggan and James Chastanoff rounding out the top 20.
And we look on further back down the list then to 21st. It's Christian Vigiano at Team Hyperdrive, starts 21st with P. Lee in 22nd. Then you've got Jamie Dyke and Andrew Ritchie, Vincent Skilbeck, Bailey Yule, as well as, of course, Greg Sharp and Troy Maguire making out the field that we have here today. Here's the track conditions. It's early morning. It's 23 degrees on track. It's 108 kilometers worth of racing action, so 25 laps to go out there and battle, and who has what it takes to put the biggest result together. We'll soon find out, as everybody will try and make some good progress towards turn 1 and 2. It's very easy for it all to go wrong early around this place, and of course, salut Gilles, of course, Gilles Villeneuve, arguably one of the greatest Formula One drivers ever to exist in racing. But everyone's going to be getting themselves ready. Everyone's going to be hoping that they have the one race that they need, and track position around here is vital, especially with that very difficult pit entry where you have to blast in as quickly as you possibly can. Let's get ourselves ready then. 25 laps worth of action starts now, and it's a pretty good start then off the front. Everybody falling into a line, a little bit of too wide in the middle of the pack as they look to go on through, but it's a good start from the number 2 of James Scott, who's got the best run possible as they go through turn 2, and hopefully no dramas on the exit here with putting the power down on cold tyres. It's all nice and clean then for the moment. Everyone going through. Rob Bowden as well, clean as they drive into 3 and 4 as Andrew Dyson around the outside turns to the inside and gets the move done, and does it at turn number 3. All of a sudden Jackson Susan Harlow wants through on Corey Shepard.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Great move there by Dyson. Really held off there with Corey Shepard. Jackson Susan Harlow through, well, almost through as well. It looks like Corey Shepard just holding off there, just on the inside there, Sperry.
Yeah, that was door-to-door contact as well. Look at this, aggressive from Adam Briggs, diving for the inside. He wants through on Brian Borg at the third chicane, and I think he's just got it. And suddenly, because he's so compromised, here comes Geordie Sinney making the move through and moving back into 7th position in the number 18 Synergy Sim Racing car. That's worked really nicely on the brakes, Phillip Island for the very first time here. This tough hairpin, which is so easy to run wide and make mistakes. And suddenly, oh, hello, down the inside, there it goes, Damian Johnstone wanting in on the action. And now, whichever way you look, there's dramas. That's P. Lee having a little bit of a slide in the Simfinity car.
Yeah, so P. Lee, a newcomer to the series. We haven't seen too much of him. Unfortunately, being shuffled there down to the back. We'll catch a motor simulation replay here. Yeah, one of the
Viggiano, because you can see just in front, there is Christian Viggiano there going through. On the brakes you go. Oh, no, he's tagged the wall, and yes, then he tags Viggiano going through on the second hit. So ultimately, not ideal for them, but we do have changes up and down the order here going on as Jackson Susan Harlow is up into fourth position. We'll get another look at this one from Jamie Dyke's perspective here as he goes on through. On the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes. Oh, he tagged him in the rear. That's a Jamie Dyke incident then, and you can't really say too much about that. Jamie Dyke just a little bit too hot on the brakes, and that is where the changes happen. Now that's Christian Smart, and that's Christian Smart down at turn 3 and backwards.
Yeah, exactly right. I actually just caught him off camera there. He was tagged from behind there. Might be able to get a replay of that there as it's just coming through there now. He pretty fast part of the track there. I think that might have been pretty hard to pick there from no paint there.
Todd Hayne.
Todd Hayne, yeah. So a bit unfortunate there for Christian Smart. Yeah, fired through on that access road. So that will be most of his race done there, Sperry.
Yeah, he's all the way down now at the back of the pack in 28th position. It's a long road for Christian Smart to get anything out of this one as they all look to push on forward and try and find their times. There's your race leader though, James Scott. Brady Myers behind him at the tune of 8/10 of a second through the final chicane. You can see how aggressive they take these curbs here. All about trying to gain that momentum. As you can see, the next group of cars all looking to funnel their way through and find some times here and find a little bit more there as they pop on through. It's such a brilliant run. Oh look, there's Rob Bowden's livery back. How wonderful it is. As it goes on through, James Scott gets the fast lap of the day. His 13 car under pressure. That's Mitchell Bolton here as he's got Sebastian Tixier behind from Singapore trying to get on through. He's got the nice big love heart and the shark's teeth there on the front of that camo car, trying to find a move, but he's not quite there just yet.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Good seeing Bowden's paint job back. It almost reminds me of Dick Johnson in 1983 when they repainted the green stuff car. It was still wet as it was on the line there. Looks like everyone's more or less sorting themselves out there at the moment. Harlow just over a second back there from Dyson. I was not too sure whether or not he's going to be right on the back there, but he will be gaining on him.
Certainly will, and he'll be trying to do so, and well, he'll be trying to find a way as close as possible to moving forward. Now here's Adam Briggs in 6th place. He's looking for the top 5, which is currently being safeguarded and gatekeeped. Oh, there's been dramas in the background, I do believe, somewhere out on circuit, and it's Jack Winners who's gone around. No surprises there, some would say, but Jack Winners running into troubles, and there's someone else involved, and it's Marty Hansen in the Taipan eSports car.
Yeah. Marty Hansen there stuck on the racing line, managing to get it round. I think he might have just a bit too hard under brakes there and loaded up there. We'll catch it on the replay just up on your screen now.
He just lost it on his own. Rear's locked, and when you lock the rear axle in these vehicles, it's so very difficult to get back here, Nick.
Yeah, it's exactly right, and it's such a tight part of the track too, trying to spin it around. Unfortunately, both facing down the wrong way of the track there, so that's shuffled a few people up the order, as we're seeing now. In particular, Bolton, Tixier, and Rob Bowden getting those 2 places.
They certainly have done. Here's a battle going on right now for what is 8th and 9th, as Damien Johnstone wants to try and find a way through on Brian Ball at this moment in time. And Ball gets a huge wiggle coming off of turn 4, so that one definitely not helping Borgie. As here on the brakes tries Damien Johnstone, not there just yet, but you have to lift out of it a little bit for fear of running into the back of the Premier Racing Team driver. A little bit of correction going through that that right-hander of turn number 8. So very, very tough. Sorry, turn 7, I should say. Getting that one really, really toughly working forward. Damien Johnstone knows he's got to be out there and gaining places quickly here in this race, because everyone else will be trying to check out, and the gaps, well, they are starting to form, and they're getting a little gap here and a little gap there, and every which way you look, it's not ideal.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And you can see that the 2 Altus cars of Scott and Myers, almost 4 seconds to Andrew Dyson a little bit further down the line there. So they've really wanted to check out now and get this 1-2 done there. seeing Corey Shepard now back onto the back there of Jackson Susan Harlow. So Harlow is going to be under a bit of pressure pretty soon.
Well, he's got the gap back out to 0.8 of a second, but that was the train that is starting to move forward. There is Adam Briggs as well in the simrigs.com DPR car there. So Mr. Bevan over at simrigs.com will be looking very happily at the result. They've got one in third and one in sixth. They can be happy with where they are at the moment. There's Kenneth Latter in the Exto Gaming car, and he'll be looking for moving into Super Saiyan 2 mode, you could say, at this stage of the race. Lap 5 of 25. Start to get aggressive on the tyres, maybe. Start to find a rhythm and make things work. So on the brakes they go, into the next left-hander. Not quite there for Adam Briggs just yet, but Corey Shepard in the Premier Racing Team's Grand Tenor car will be hoping that his number 4 car is going to have that ability to attack, because the moment he started looking behind it, Corey Shepard, he's lost 6/10 on this lap to Jackson Susan Harlow.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And gee, I'm loving these chicanes here at Montreal. Almost reminds me of Adelaide, that really street circuit layout with those really tight chicane and some of those square off corners there. So just seeing Adam Briggs there on the back of Corey Shepard there at the moment. So potentially he's going to get the draft here onto this straight. It's medium length straight here, not long enough there to really pull a draft there, but if you game into that real bus stop style chicane there at the end.
Well, it's all about getting yourself alongside. Not close enough just yet is Adam Briggs. He jams on the brakes because you get this double slingshot here. You get a good run out of the hairpin. You then set yourself up for a good run into the chicane. You get a good run through the chicane. You get this sort of opportunity to take a look from aerial perspective as we go on towards turn number 1. But he just runs out of road again. And it's well defended then by Corey Shepard, who does not have to worry about Adam Briggs just yet. We've also got the strategy card that's coming into play, that magic S word here in this race, and that will be very key because, of course, it's a one-stopper that we're looking at, and we're thinking maybe lap 12, lap 13 will be the ideal time for some drivers to come in. Some drivers may be a little earlier, some drivers a little later. It's all about positioning around here and making sure that you're not going to fall into a pack of cars which are not going to be in the best possible place. Borgie still holding off Damien Johnstone, as well as Michael Rosenblatt behind, who is doing a very, very good job in the RTR car in 10th place.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You'd almost bet that the two Altus cars out the front there, of Scott and Mike, want to try and wait until the absolutely last minute there to try and hang it out. It's probably not too much tyres are going to play into it, being such a short race of 25 laps, but it's exactly as what you were saying before there, being quite a narrow track there, you don't want to fall into a pack and then lose time on the people up the road.
There has been a change of position behind. That is Todd Hayne, who has fallen behind Mitchell Bolton then for 12th and 13th place. We'll take a little look then at this train starting to make progress towards the final chicane out on circuit. Now that pit entry when the pit stop start is going to be so difficult for drivers because you have to check your run for the driver in front who's looking to hit the brakes, or you have to do the very bold thing of going hard to the inside to make sure that you do not hit your way through. It's worth noting as well, this isn't an F1 pit lane, this is an IndyCar pit lane. It goes a lot longer than you expect it to, as Bolton and Hayne close together once again. Hayne will want to get back through on Mitchell Bolton, but no, not quite just yet.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What you were saying there, Sperry, you can see that lane off to the off there to the left as they come through there, as we're just on board here with Sebastian Tix there into turn 3 and 4. These beautiful Canadian trees there in the background there. Such a nice flowing chicane, that one there. So just looking on the back there of Todd Hayne. Todd Hayne we haven't seen too much of. Mitchell Bolton we have seen quite a lot of there. So all three of them doing pretty well there, just outside the top 10.
And they'll be hoping for maybe a couple of dramas in front of them to pick up a couple of places here and there. It's that sort of race. We haven't really had too many dramas go wrong here in this one so far. James Scott leading this one outright with Brady Myers in second. All 28 drivers here on lap 7 are still circulating at this moment in time. There's Geordie Sinney in 7th position. He's on a little bit of an island at the moment. He's got to be careful about falling backwards into the clutches of Brian Borg. You can see how everyone is wanting to attack into the hairpin. There is Mark Duggan and co looking to try and get on through. Andrew Ritchie's under a bit of pressure here for 18th place, as well as they dive on through. And this is a nice little 4-car pack as the likes of those drivers trying to recover. Christian Smart's done well to recover though, actually. He's now back into 24th place.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And you can see them as they come down into that bus-up chicane as well, not wanting to be too close there on the back of the car in front. It's such a with this track here in Montreal with such heavy braking zones, you don't want to be up too close, or you could definitely end up rear-ending someone there, as we're just seeing here. Brian Borg with Damien Johnston just behind, and Geordie Cini just in front there. Borg taking a really shallow line through there at the moment, so pretty hard there on the defence there.
Yeah, and you can see how aggressive they have to be through turn number 3. Of course, that wall really does jut out at the exit, and you have to use all of it and get as close as you can to it. You almost have to forego your right wing mirror around this place. It's so difficult to make sure that it all happens. So, the JK Signs Synergy Sim Racing car will definitely want to get through here of Damien Johnstone, past Brian Borg in the Premier Racing Team number 6. So through the third chicane, and it's about setup here. This is a sandwich, you'd feel right now, and if Geordie Cini isn't able to pull away from this group, maybe he can act the pick to help the team get into a better position. This is an iRacing official race, so it's all about making sure that you gain as many places as you can and just run the race that you maybe need to. At the moment, Geordie Cini has lost almost 2 seconds now to Adam Briggs in 6th place.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. So you can see coming up to the pit entrance now, we actually haven't had any cars really at all come through. Thankfully, not too many damaged cars there at the moment there, so everyone looks to be staying out at the moment there. So no one wanting to really go that early strategy there, Sperry.
No, nobody really wanting an early strategy, but people will be thinking about, okay, well, how early is early when it comes to this race? We know we've got to run to the fuel tank, but how advantageous is the undercut going to be in this race? We know those tyres go off quite quickly around here, but you have to remember as well here at the moment, Nick, it's a cold track temperature. That means that those tyres aren't going to be used as much as they would do on a hot track. You can see it's 23 degrees right now on track temperature, 22 degrees air temp right now. Winds are blustering in at 20 k's from the west. That's making life a little awkward for drivers to sight their braking points. But what you really need to know is that you have tyre life to play with when it comes to this race.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. Especially being in summer there in Montreal at the moment there, and quite a cool track as you were saying. So tyres not really playing too much into it at the moment there, as we're just catching a bit more of Brian Borg and Damien Johnstone. So Borg taking quite a lot of unique lines there at the moment there, but Johnson just a little bit too far behind. If you can get a good run here on the straight, just such a tricky straight there. Just seeing him come down here now, Sperry.
And I think we've just seen, just running into technical issues, Geordie Cini at the worst possible time, just in front of these two. That will be potentially the first retirement. No, so Cini just about surviving with that. There you can see, oh, hello, and that's not going to be ideal for watching for Brian Borg. Whenever you see someone having technical issues just in front of you, that is always the most awkward point in the world to try and race against, because you don't firstly get the draft when they're having technical issues, but secondly, you are hoping that you are not going to run into any more troubles out there on circuit. And actually at that moment, Geordie Cini does drop behind those two, goes back into 9th place. He was struggling with power on the exit. I think he may have caused a slowdown potentially.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sperry. And also for braking markers as well, with such a track with those heavy braking markers, seeing those brake lights can really keep you up to your rhythm. So if the car keeps coming in and out, it can be quite distracting there. As we're just looking back there, I believe we're on board with Rosenblatt, looking back at Kenneth Ladder here at the moment there. Kenneth and Michael very close together at the moment there, so potentially might be holding him up here. Might have to have a look at those lap times.
Well, Kenneth Latter's done really well to close up to the back of Michael Rosenblatt. Is this a look to get inside the top 10? On the brakes they go into Lepangle, the hairpin here in French Canada at this stage. So Latter looking to attack. He started in 12th, in as high as 10th. He's in 11th right now and looking to try and get into that top 10 and really start to make some progress forward. He's trying to really attack, but he's not quite at the position he needs to be for the time being. He knows he's got to get there P, D and Q, and someone else who's looking to get their P, D and Q. Look at 4th, 5th and 6th again. That gap was up at 1.4 seconds a little bit earlier on. Well, look at it right now. It's definitely a lot less than that here, as Corey Shepard has put together a string of good laps to get onto the back of Jackson Susan Harlow, JSH.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sperry, and just coming across just a lap short there of the halfway distance there, a 100-kilometre race here, so we're hitting this 50-kilometre mark. So we are probably going to see a few cars in the pits now, as we're just seeing, I reckon that's Damien Johnson there on the inside there, Brian Borg there, and Sinai right on the back of these two.
City there on the outside definitely wants to get close, but that's a good run from Brian Borg off of the exit. Johnstone would have been compromised putting the power down, the DM cinematography on the inside of the wing, but the number 6 has got to fight hard here at this next corner. This is tough to try and make this move around this place, and finally having to yield through there is Brian Borg, and suddenly there is Geordie City, who definitely wants to get on through in 9th place. He wants 8th back again here as he goes through, heavily defended by Brian Borg, and 2 more to the party. Why don't we here? Rosenblatt and Lasser is brought into the mix, but Brian Borg needs a good run off the exit here. Such a difficult corner, contact between the two. Room just about given. Borg's on the outside though, heading in towards the final chicane. And if I were a brave driver like Brian Borg, I'd give the ultimate notice here to Geordie City and maybe think about dive down into the lane and cut my losses now. And in fact, he does exactly that.
Yeah, good sportsmanship and just set the train off as well. So we've just had another one come in the pits behind. I do believe that might have been Jamie Dyke. Sorry, it was Mitchell Bolton there. So both of them off into the pits. But yeah, good strategy there by Brian Borg, not wanting to lose those other positions. Potentially might be able to get some clean air there in front.
Oh, James Chastanoff's had a moment down at the final chicane. We caught the back end of it as Vigiano and co both went around and got by. So let's have a little look. How did this one all come about then as they slammed on the brakes and went through the final corner? Oh, no. Was that Widders trying to come down in onto the lane potentially? That was awkward. Vigiano going through. It was Jack Widders, who's been a bit of a wrecking ball here tonight and quite honestly has been a wrecking ball for a couple of races so far this season. Bang on the brakes. So easy to do. The Lee Ellis Ross Rizzo accident, you could say, here at what is going to be Montreal.
Yeah, it almost looked like Widders was very committed to the lane, and yeah, Chastanoff was very hard on the brakes there into that stop. So not too sure what's going on there. I think Widders might have been a bit overly confident there with that lane. We're just catching up now with, I think that is Corey Shepard and Harlow just in front. Yeah, it is Harlow. Yeah, so still seeing all the leaders at the moment. See who's going to peel off here. You can see from the static camera the lane there off to the left. So both Harlow and Shepard are both in.
And followed by Adam Briggs as well, diving in, following those two in front. In comes Damien Johnstone. He'll have to cover off the move by Brian Borg. And Geordie City as well, I believe, is out. Oh, there's a spinner. Todd Hayne has spun it on the lane. Geordie City is out of the event with damage and heavy damage at that as well. I did see him dropping down the timing stand, so I am very curious as to see how this one all came about. We keep looking back. Where did this one all go wrong? So this is Christian Vigiano that we're looking at right now. He's gaining a lot of places here because almost everybody was diving down into the lane. So we're going to look at Todd Hayne here and how he got pit lane wrong. This is so easy to do in these vehicles because you're looking to try and hit the brakes and slow the car down as much as possible here, Nick. But you're going to see this from Todd Hayne. He jams on the brakes. He's going to lock the rears up, trying to slow down for the commitment cone. And he does a big 90 in the middle of the track, which does not make life very easy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And yeah, lucky not too many people were behind him or he would have potentially caused quite an accident there.
Oh,
but
it's in the wall there. On pit entry, he's found the wall on pit entry, so that's where Geordie City found his troubles. He was diving down into the lane, he slammed it straight into the wall. That's so bizarre, but out and away, Adam Briggs has jumped Corey Shepard in the stop.
Yeah, so great strategy there by Adam Briggs there, managing to leapfrog Corey Shepard. So Shepard all the way down from 4th down to effective 11th at the moment there, as we're just seeing
Scott and Dyson both down in on the lane. Brady Myers stays out then for another lap. Sebastian Tixier then in the very iconic livery. There's a little bit of Kirby on the side of the car there as he goes on through. Masahiro Sakurai's first creation. Of course, he is now the Super Smash Brothers coder, and he can play that game with 2 controllers and 2 hands. He's that good. In comes Vigiano, in comes Chasseneth, and now Jackson Susan Harlow. We look to go through the final couple of corners. One driver just in front there will not be the best viewing. Like some Marty Hansen in the Taipan car, Bailey Ewell will come down in. Damien Johnstone and Brian Borg. Well, Johnstone covered off Brian Borg in the stop. Moving on forward, the question becomes, where has everybody come out? The answer is Dyson and co are ahead of exactly where they needed to be. They stay second and third.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, yeah, Brady Myers definitely holding out in front at the moment. So, looking to go very, very long there. We're just looking at Brian Borg down the order. I think he was also, might have been leapfrogged by Johnson in the pits there, if I'm not mistaken. Who else is... pretty much that's about it, though. There's not too many... Aside from Brady Myers, it looks like most of the field are done there on the pits now.
Troy Maguire will also need to come down into the lane, and you can see him right now. And Myers has spun it in the lane. Brady Myers has spun it coming down into the pits. It's a disaster for Brady Myers, who needed a good stop, and he has committed the cardinal sin. Mark Duggan coming out of the pits, and a Motum simulation replay for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's so easy to do. We saw it happen earlier on. You can see he's so committed to finding his marks, locks the inside front, the back steps out trying to avoid the wall. He does that job, and he has to do the most awkward 360 pivot here as he gets on the power like Romain Grosjean did at the Spanish Grand Prix. So there you can see James Scott. He's going to get a freebie to the race lead, and Andrew Dyson has actually just been overtaken by JSH, Jackson Susan Harlow. So Jackson Susan Harlow could be up into second position here if things all work out quite nicely. As we look at that train, out and away comes Brady Myers, and where's he going to fall out into all of this one? A very clear second.
Yeah, pretty lucky there for Myers to get it rotated in the right direction. We did see Susan Harlow was about 45 seconds back there leading this train when Myers did enter in the pits here. As we're just looking a bit further there, Troy Maguire in the pits now as well. So the 2 Altus cars sticking it out in front there at the moment, with James Scott with quite a good advantage now over the front there of Myers.
Yes, now the battle for the podium is a 4-car train. Susan Harlow, Dyson, Briggs, Shepard. Those 4 will definitely want to be on that podium and fight for those places. Remember Dyson and Briggs, the last time they were fighting for podium places in this series, they came together on the final lap. We'll not say anything right now. We'll knock wood and hope that there's going to be no issues at all. But the Simrix.com DPR cars, they are hoping that there is no dramas on the horizon for them here in their fight for third place. On the brakes into Lepangle, and how close do you want to be on the brakes? Briggsy trying to find a way through on his teammate Andrew Dyson. You can't afford to be too liberal, so to speak, with the brakes. You've got to be so cautious when you're in a train, especially if you can't see the front of your car.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It only takes one brake lock-up as well to tap that car in front there, and yeah, definitely don't want to take out your teammate now as they come through that chicane there onto the straight. That start-finish line is a little bit further up, so if you are game, you can line up someone there coming out of that chicane there, but they're all remaining in pretty tight there with Shepard on the back of this train.
Adam Briggs wants in. Corey Shepard in 6th position. You could arguably say he's in the best position possible, because if anybody does come together, he could really gain an advantage out of all of these battles. Talking about people who are also in battle, Michael Rosenblatt and Kenneth Latter are still in their scrap for 9th and 10th position right now. Inside the top 10 now is Kenneth Latter, but he feels that he may have the pace on Rosenblatt as Todd Hayne and Jack Widdus at the moment in a fight, and that's a big lock up there from Jack Widdus then in through turn number 2. There's the battles going a little bit further down. Vincent Skilbeck has got himself a little bit of trouble in the Williams Mayhem Republic car. He's got Vigiano in the Team Hyperdrive machine, and he's got Christian Smart on top of that, and then just behind is James Chasseneth trying to get on through. There's a little bit of damage there on the front of Christian Smart's car, but it doesn't matter. Bonnet or no bonnet, Vigiano's no match, and Chasseneth's going to follow on through.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Chasseneth definitely showing his experience here. Normally would seem a little bit further up the order there. Oh, almost door to door there. wasn't much room left there on the outside as they have this big drag race here down the back side of the corner there. They're going to go into this this other chicane here down the back areas. We're just catching up with the front of the field there, Sperry.
Certainly are. It stays exactly as it was. They look to try and find their moves pretty quickly out here on track. Who's the latest on the brakes? They go in towards turn one. The answer is everyone at this stage, but Dyson looking so aggressive here behind Jackson Susan Harlow, who takes that nice narrow line and has great grip on the exit of the corner to gain a tenth or two coming off of the exit. It's so easy to think that you've got that so easily worked in, but ultimately you would say at this moment in time it's all about the patience game. They've got 9 laps or 8.5 at this stage to try and play with, so you don't need to make that move immediately, but you do have to start showing your hand somewhere about halfway along the stint to make sure that you do have the best track position here to defend at this place.
Yeah, that's exactly right there, and it's almost, it is such a hard track to overtake, being so narrow there, and with these the heavy braking and heavy acceleration there. Harlow really showing how to drive out of the corners here. You can see there's such an advantage there over Dyson there, but under brakes, Dyson just so strong and closing that gap to almost only looks to be a few feet there as they come down this back straight now.
Boyd's looks a lot closer going through that hairpin, but the power down can always gain a little bit. Dyson will try and pull this one back, get 0.3 of a second then as they go on the casino straight. Who's going to try their gambles here in towards this next section? You can see how close Dyson gets, but he needs a good run here through this corner, and Jackson Susan Harlow does just enough again to try and hold this off. They are very slowly starting to drop Corey Shepard off the back of this one, which will be a little bit concerning for the Premier Racing team as they go on through, but again, it's a case of not quite there. Dyson is so late in on the brakes at turn 2, he just has no road to try and work with.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can see him running his nose there off the apex, whereas
Kenny through because Rosenblatt looked like he was around there at turn number 2. So what's happened to Michael Rosenblatt here? We just caught the back end of it. I saw the change on the timing tower and didn't expect there to be too much of it. So this is Michael Rosenblatt. Gets a little slide out to the final corner. That's all fair game. But Kenny here is going to go for the move. And he's not had good luck. He had a lap 1 incident earlier on at Le Mans, but he gets down the inside. Oh, he's just let him have that one for free, it seems there, and maybe a slow down penalty for Michael Rosenblatt.
yeah, potentially that chicane just coming there onto the pit straight. If you take just a little bit too much there, it can be all over. And oh yeah, I reckon on that right-hander he might have just taken just a bit too much curb there and waiting to serve that slow down as he got down into the corner.
Puts him back with his teammate Mitchell Bolton, so they'll be fighting it out for the top 10 places. Andrew Dyson, another good run. This is a closer run though. It's being defended by Jackson Susan Harlow here on the brakes into the next corner. He lisks on over here to try and cover the line, and that's a missed apex slightly by Andrew Dyson. He'll compromise the run, and can Adam Briggs find a way now to get on through? The answer to that is no. So opportunity lost, you'd feel, at that moment for Andrew Dyson. Just couldn't get it turned in enough and pointy enough to find the place there against JSH.
Yeah, and JSH with those nerves of steel there, you could see Dyson really putting so much pressure on him into a mistake, but JSH being such a strong competitor, you could see that, he was definitely standing his ground and not giving in.
Well, he's not giving in. You can definitely tell that much, but you've got to find a way through right now. We're on lap 19 here of 25. James Scott leads. The gap is 4.8 seconds out here on circuit between Scott and Myers at this moment in time. This battle going on for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and it would have been 6th if it weren't for the fact the gap's now 1.4 seconds between Susan Harlow and Corey Shepard's group at this moment in time. This is still a very entertaining battle. Something else that's just managed to get a little bit closer is that Damien Johnstone's made a couple of mistakes out here on circuit. He now has mirrors full again of Brian Borg.
Yeah, it's exactly right there, and I was actually just catching there at the top of the timing markers. We're just seeing Johnston and Borg come through there. So that gap between Scott and Myers, it was around that 6 seconds when Myers came out of the pits after making that pretty costly mistake there, but it has come down to about 4.5 seconds. So knowing that we do have 6 laps to go, whether or not he can work on that gap. It might be a little bit too little too late, though.
Well, can you find the move? Can you find exactly what you need at this moment in time? They've got 6 laps to work it out between them right now, and at this stage, on the brakes through turn 1 and into turn 2, again, you can see Dyson looking for a way to get on through, but you've got to be nose narrow through that corner to gain as much time as you possibly can. Then 3 and 4, you don't get enough of a run, really, to make it up the hill and then descending back down it once again. There's not much elevation change around this place, but there is enough there at 3 and 4. It's the most notable changes that you get. Into 6 then, they come along once more, and you just start to feel that these opening sectors are all about staying within a range, within a limit, and if you've got the front, you've got the clean air to work with. It's so difficult to punch a hole through. It's normally talked about more in Formula vehicles, Nick, about dirty air, but still, even in these vehicles, you get a couple tenths here and there where it's really tough to follow.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And with these touring cars not having the wings of the Formula race cars as well, but you can see that JSH just absolutely nailing those apexes and keeping it tight. So he's got a clear track in front of him. He can line it up and he can see what's going on. With Dyson being so close behind, it's almost blocking his view and not being able to see through the corner, because all he can see in front of him is that boot lead of JSH's Commodore.
He's getting in the mirror, though. He's trying to force the mistake. He's gone to the book of racing, trying to force the mistakes. He goes to the chapter known as overtakes. What do if stuck? So now they go all the way to the right-hand side, to the pit wall here, trying to make sure that they get themselves the best natural line into turn number 1. And again, Jackson Susan Harlow has enough to defend with 5 laps to go now here in this race. And it's just the case of Andrew Dyson needing to be in a position to attack, and this is where the middle sectors of this lap, the first and second, become really, really crucial, because if you can't set it up for the third sector, that's it, day donezo. You're not going to be able to find these overtakes around this place. There are battles going on a little bit further back. Greg Sharp's in the middle of one right now with Andrew Ritchie and co at this point in time. I wonder if we can have a little look back at this one, because look at this 4-car train here as they go towards turn number 1. It seems for the time being anyway that a Fanatec sponsored car, it seems, for Andrew Ritchie. That looks like an iRacing default livery right now, and of course you can put anything on your livery for iRacing defaults. You've got to head to the new iRacing UI for that one now. They've moved where paints are. So Ritchie, Sharp, and there you can see in the background Skillbeck and Sharp all want to try and get on through, and this is another case of a Montreal classic train.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Ritchie, bit of a lock-up there, so that's going to hurt his pace there coming onto the straight. But I was just about to say, Ritchie with a really good showing here in the top split has shown some really great pace in some of the development races, but really sticking it here in the top split here.
He's sticking it well. Greg Sharp doing enough, though, to just pile on that pressure and do just enough to make life just a bit awkward here. There is Christian Smart looking for a way through, and there's the Wheelie Bins Mayhem Republic car searching for the inside. Smart's going to go the long way round here, trying to go through the golden car at this stage, and he's not going to get the draft at this moment here, so Skillbeck's got a chance maybe to come back, but no, position made.
Yeah, you can just see Christian Smart there sitting at almost right to the inside. He's going to have to pull there to the left there to get the apex through. We're just seeing Mitchell Bolton. Looks to be his teammate as well there.
Couldn't quite get there. Looking again for the inside, though, of the next corner at turn 3. No, not going to have it, but wide you go here if you're one, Mr. Michael Rosenblatt. Mitch Bolton wants that top 10.
Yes, just looking there at the timing marker, there are only 500ths of a second there, but yeah, Bolton right there on the back there of his teammate there, of Rosenblatt, wanting to get that top 10 position there, Sperry.
Going to allow TXCA in, though, from Singapore if they're not too careful. Brakes, right, left, 8, 9, coming up. There's a big slide there from Michael Rosenblatt, trying to get rotation in the car, going on through the corner. So this is looking a little awkward, but there's a great run off the exit here from Mitch Bolton. He'll look to the long way around at Lapangle to make this one happen. They've been battling all lap long, but there's the understeer, and goodbye, Charm.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just caught it there off screen. Dyson again showing a nose to JSH as we're just cutting back to them here on live pictures there. So the closest he's almost been through that part of the circuit, we actually just missed it there at the moment. So it seems that Dyson seems to have that real pace there in that last sector, but just not being able to get it done there.
Catching is one thing, passing is another. Motum simulation replay then of this. You can see how close to the back Andrew Dyson gets. JSH goes defensively, Jackson Susan Harlow, and he thinks about going to the outside. He thinks about getting it covered in the number 9 Simrigs.com DPR car. But again, Jackson Susan Harlow is so committed through that final corner, and it's just no way to defend against him when he's so good on the brakes into the main overtaking opportunity place.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And you've got to hand it to Dyson as well, getting that red mist. You could imagine how much his adrenaline's pumping, wanting to get that pass done, but showing that that maturity there and just pulling it back in, and yeah, not wanting to have that contact there.
Greg Sharp then was just through on Andrew. How to change the positions. We look at the battle for 7th and 8th place. Well, we did, because we're going back to 10th, 11th, and now 12th, because there on the back is Sebastian. Yeah, and I'm sure Steve will be relishing for a couple of RTR cars snacks in the late stages of this race. They'll have 2 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line, so they haven't got long to sort this one out between them here, and there's a bit of traffic in front, which won't be ideal either, so that's something worth keeping in mind here, as PTA just needs to keep it smooth, try and really attack the final stages.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. And just looking at the front there, Brady Mine's getting it down to just around that 4-second mark there, so definitely will be, after this race, thinking what could have been there. Unfortunately, that spin would have cost him probably about 6 or 7 seconds there at the start there, as we're just catching Johnston and Borg there. Borg right on the back there. Johnston defending really great in this period.
He certainly is. Damien Johnstone has done well in the number 7 car. Brian Borg is there in 8th place, going through the rights and the lefts and searching for pace at this stage. It looks like Johnstone is hoping to try and just stave off the challenge here of Brian Borg. He's got half a second there or thereabouts, so that's enough, and it's now up to 6/10 as they go through the chicane. So it's working nicely here for Damien Johnstone, who doesn't have to be too concerned about the way things are going right now. In fact, you also could say the same for Jackson Susan Harlow, whose gap is now up to 7/10 of a second here, as he's managed to just pull away, as Andrew Dyson used the life of his tyres trying to stay close to him right now, and that could put him into the clutches of his teammate Adam Briggs. There's your race leader James Scott. We've got one more lap's worth of racing here, Nick, at Montreal.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm just caught off screen there, 3 wide between, I think that was between...
Oh my word! Oh. Wow, contact, they go onto the brakes. That's going to force one of the RTR cars a little bit wide. It's Mitch Bolton who has to pay the price, and TCA has got them both on the penultimate lap of this race, leading to the final lap. TCA is not clear though, not by any stretch, because Rosenblatt will want this one back here as they start to scrap it out then. All runners advance as they go to the final corner out on circuit, this chicane, and ultimately let's get going here and try and find every little battle that they can. The 15 car holding off the 10, holding off the 13 as they go towards turn number 1. No dice at the moment, and it's going to be another case of the waiting game, because this has been masterfully crafted here in the fight for the top 10. Great work to get back into this. We've got Chaston and Vigiano fighting this one out for 21st and 22nd place. So Vigiano, who has had a rough day, had contact, of course, in the early stages in this one. He's worked hard to get back to 22nd, mind you, as he looks to go through the next right of turn number 2. No, he's not going to be quite there just yet, as he searches for moves and searches for opportunities. There is Borg, there is Johnstone. That one looks like it could be close, as Borg gets a huge wiggle coming out of the 3rd chicane. But go to your race leader, why don't we? James Scott, final chicane coming. He won at the opener here of Scots 2020 at this circuit of Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and he does so again here in the Monday Night Officials. James Scott wins here at Montreal. It is Brady Myers to come to 2nd at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and Jackson Harlow with a great defence will take home third ahead of both of the simrigs.com DPR entries. Back to Brian Borg. We'll have to look, though. Has he got the angle to make a move? Answer to that one is no. Hold your breath. Johnstone does like to run out of fuel, but it's Brian Borg who has run out of fuel late. Can Kenny find a way to get close enough? He's out of row.
Yeah, that's exactly right there, and we've seen Sebastian Tix there, 10th place, very opportunistic there of Rosenblatt and the other car there, so 2 for 1 between, I think it was Mitchell Bolton as well there, and just seeing Rob Bowden a little bit further up the order there, coming through there. I think he started about 17th or 18th there, Sperry.
Certainly did. He made a really good run of things today. Craig Sharp is going to hold off Christian Smart then in the battle 17th and 18th then in this race. Chestnut does enough to make sure Christian Vigiano does not get the blackjack position of 21st place. Confirmation of results then. It is Jaden Scott who picks up the overall victory. He did so in 40 minutes and 31 seconds, and he wins by 3.8 over Brady Myers. It's Jackson Susan Harlow who picks up third place, with Andrew Dyson in fourth position with his teammate Adam Briggs, number 5 in 5th place. Corey Shepard will take a quiet 6th place come the end of the day, with Damian Johnstone getting 7th position. Brian Borg running out of fuel late in 8th position, could not be capitalised by Kenneth Latta in the Exto Gaming car. 9th place for him. Sebastian Tixier getting the move done after a 3-wide manoeuvre on the penultimate lap. He gets a top 10 for his troubles.
Yeah, is it so? Michael Rosenblatt and Mitchell Bolton having that last lap or penultimate lap incident there. Rob Bowden up from 17th. Jamie Dyke, didn't see too much of him, as well as Todd Hayne. Jack Wittes there, a few incidents down there in 16th. Greg Sharp, Christian Smart, Vincent Skilbeck and Andrew Ritchie rounding out the top 20.
And there you see then the final drivers: James Chastanoff, Christian Vigiano, Marty Hanson in the Taipan car had a moment out on circuit. Mark Duggan there in 24th, Troy Maguire 25th, and then you got Bailey Ewell, P. Lee, both of them 1 lap down, and the one retirement from this race today is Geordie Sinney, who binned it into pit entry today. That is the end of the race for him. But quite crucially, we're never too far away when it comes to racing action with SimSpeed. There is so much that goes on, and of course we're heading to a classic, some would say, in 1 week's time. It's Phillip Island, the place where we're going to go, one of the most fantastic Australian circuits that you will find. And Nick, I'm pretty sure you can say it as well, we're in for a treat, because Phillip Island always brings a spectacle.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. Just off the south side there of Melbourne there, Phillip Island, some really great racing, some really fast flowing curves. So bit of a difference here from Montreal, but will be great racing all the same.
The only place you can catch that is the iRacing Esports Network. If you haven't already, you can like, share, and subscribe on YouTube for that. And for those who have been watching on Facebook Gaming, well, thank you very much for joining alongside with us as well. That has been some brilliant racing here from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. From everyone who gets it done, Motum Simulations, of course, from Jay Kennedy on the cameras, Nick Skarajev alongside me and myself, Jake Sperry. It is a big, big win today for James Scott. He puts 2 in a row on the board on a Monday night, and he'll be going with great momentum to try and find some amazing form. Is there anything more in the locker, though, from anybody else? Well, Brady Myers would have felt that that was opportunity lost. Phillip Island awaits, though, and we'll see you in 1 week's time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He got rid of the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Oh. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!